This is a serious situation, not only here in our region where the iconic rockfish is a Maryland state symbol, but all up and down the U.S. Atlantic coast, because 70 to 90% of the rockfish, also known as striped bass, that end up out in the ocean from Maine down to North Carolina, they are born right here in Maryland waters. But the rockfish appear to be in big trouble right now. Below average reproduction in Maryland for the past 5 years straight, and this season was the second lowest in nearly 70 years of record keeping. This week, Maryland's Department of Natural Resources called for new emergency regulations that would cancel the state's annual trophy season for rockfish. That's a traditional rite of spring here in Maryland, which lets recreational fishermen target the biggest fish for 2 weeks in early May, right after those fish are wrapping up spawning to produce the next generation. The emergency regulations would also extend a number of other restrictions put in place in recent years on Maryland's $500 million recreational rockfish industry.
We do not have time.
Lynn Fagley is in charge of fisheries and boating for Maryland's Department of Natural Resources.
What is the threat of a population collapse?
I want to talk a little bit about climate change, right? Things are changing. If we're going to find ourselves hotter, drier, striped bass need cold, wet winters. If we are having warm, dry winters, we don't get those spring rains and the snow melt, we may have a different environment for striped bass.
Now, rockfish have been in trouble before. Back in 1985, the state was forced to put a 5-year fishing moratorium in place that ultimately resulted in a big rebound that lasted nearly 20 years. Fagley said Maryland is not yet on track for a moratorium because there's still enough fish out there to turn things around. But rockfish, she said, need a break from some of the fishing pressure and the environment to make that happen. On to Chesapeake Bay, Scott Broom, WUSA 9.